Okay, welcome back Year 5. We are now going to be listening to the final installment of Chapter 7, and we'll find out the ending to the wonderful adventure that we have gone on, just to see what happens between the characters. So, continuing on. "I'm amazed," said Lila. "After all the trouble they've had finding the right thing to do, who would have thought it?" The song came to an end and the king led the applause. While Rambashi was announcing the next, Lila went to talk to Chulak and found him stroking Hamlet's trunk. The elephant looked happy, but of course he couldn't say so with everyone around. "Have you heard?" said Chulak. "Hamlet's going to get married." "Oh, well done, by the way. We heard the racket they made when you won. I always knew you would, and I've got my job back." Hamlet cuffed him gently round the head. "So, Frangipani said yes," said Lila. "Congratulations, Hamlet. I'm so pleased. What made her change her mind?" "Me," said Chulak. "I went and told her about his gallant deeds up on Mount Merapi." So gallant means brave. "And she was conquered. Actually, she said she'd loved him all the time, but she hadn't liked to say so. Old Uncle Rambashi's doing well, isn't he?" The audience was clapping and cheering as Rambashi announced the next song. When the Melody Boys were singing and swaying to Save the Last Mango for Me, Lila wandered back to Lalchand, who was deep in talk with the three other firework makers. They all stood up politely and asked her to join them. So how might Lila be feeling in this moment, where in the beginning of the book she didn't feel like her skills were acknowledged, that Lalchand really appreciated her talents? And now when she's joining the firework makers, they're all stood up politely to greet her and they're asking her to join them. So think about how she might be feeling in that moment. "I was just congratulating ye pa on that mighty fine display," said Colonel Sparkington. "And half the credit goes to you, miss. That trick with the little bitty boats that all went out at once. That's a Lulu. How'd you work that stunt?" So Lila told him about the delayed action fuses, because there are no secrets among true artists. And Dr. Puffinflash told them the art of pink fire, and Signor Scorchini told them how he made the octopus's legs wave, and they all talked for hours and liked one another enormously. And very late, when they were extremely tired, and when even Rambashi's Melody Boys had rung out of songs to sing, Lila and Lalchand found themselves alone in the great garden, on the grass under the warm stars, and Lalchand cleared his throat and looked embarrassed. So why might at this point Lalchand feel embarrassed before he speaks to Lila? Think about the relationship that they've had and the journey that they've been on. "Lila, my dear," he said, "I've an apology to make." "Whatever for?" "Well, you see, I should have trusted you. I brought you up as a firework maker's daughter. I should have expected you to want to be a firework maker yourself. After all, you have the 3 gifts. "Oh yes, the 3 gifts. Razvani asked if I had them, and I didn't know. But then he said I must have brought them after all. And what with rushing back to the city and preparing the display and worrying about whether we'd manage to save your life, I forgot all about them. And I still don't know what they are." "Well, my dear, did you see the ghosts?" said Lalchand. "Yes, I did. They didn't bring the gifts, and they failed. But what are the 3 gifts?" "They are what all firework makers must have. They are all equally important, and 2 of them are no good without the 3rd. So I want you to take a moment and think about what these 3 gifts might be. They may not be something physical, like something you can actually hold on to. It might be something that it's not physical, but maybe perhaps it's inside of us. So have a little moment. Maybe note down, what do you think the 3 gifts are? They might be 3 things that you think Lila has showcased through her personality. Okay. The first one is talent, and you have that, my dear. The second has many names: courage, determination, willpower. It's what made you carry on climbing the mountain when everything seemed hopeless. Lila was silent for a moment, and then she said, "What is the 3rd?" "It's simply luck," he said. "It's what gave you good friends like Chulak and Hamlet and brought them to you in time. Those are the 3 gifts, and you took them and offered them to Razvani as a firework maker should, and he gave you the royal sulphur in exchange." "But he didn't." "Yes, he did. He said it was an illusion." "In the eyes of Razvani, no doubt it is, but human beings call it wisdom. You can only gain that suffering and risk by taking the journey to Mount Merapi. It's what the journey is for. Each of our friends, the other firework makers, has made his own journey in a similar way, and so has Rambashi. So you see, you didn't come home empty-handed, Lila. You did bring back the royal sofa. Lila thought of Hamlet and Frangipani, now happily engaged. She thought of Chulak, restored to his job, and Chang and Lotus Blossom, restored to each other. She thought of Rambashi and the Melody Boys, happily snoring in the Hotel Intercontinental, dreaming of the triumphant show business career that lay ahead of them. She thought of the other firework makers and how they'd welcomed her as one of them. And then she realized what she had learnt. She suddenly saw that Dr. Puffinflash loved his pink fire, and Signal Scorchini loved his octopus, and Colonel Sparkington loved his funny moon people. To make good fireworks, you had to love them. Every little sparkler or cackle dragon. That was it. You had to put love into your fireworks, as well as all the skill you had. And Dr. Puffinflash's pink fire really was very pretty. If they combined some of it with a little glimmer juice and some of that doubling back powder, they'd never found a use for it. They might be able to. She laughed and turned to Lalchand. Now I see, she said. And so it was that Lila became a firework maker. And we have reached the end of the firework maker's daughter. Perhaps think about a journey that you have been on where you've had to use your talent, your skill, and you've had a lot of luck to achieve something that initially seemed quite difficult or a challenge. And next week, you will meet me again on our YouTube channel with a new book, which I will reveal to you on Monday. And make sure you're continuing with those reading tasks and perhaps even emailing them to us. We'd love to see them. Okay?